All right, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to keep you waiting. Just a lot of info being dumped right now that I'm just now finding out about, such as the next DLC thing for Wonderlands just popped up, and now I'm just wondering, like, what? Really? This thing is launching right now as I'm preparing to do a live stream for Jujutsu Kaisen. You wanna do this right now? You really wanna do this right now? You really wanna do this right now of all times? Really? Seriously? Now? But we're gonna have to worry about that later. We're gonna have to check out whatever this DLC is later for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. But for right now, we need to focus on Jujutsu Kaisen. So with that being said, yo peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to another Jujutsu Kaisen read-through. We will be reading through Volume 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Let me make sure that the light is fine. Yeah, light is fine, despite me having that light in the background. Oh, I love having myself like a little mini ring light there. It makes everything so professional. So, last we left off with Jujutsu Kaisen, well, Yuji, hold on. Yuji and Fushiguro were facing off against the special grade curse inside of the detention facility, but it became too much for either one of them to handle, so there was a stipulation for Yuji letting out Sukuna, where Fushiguro and Nobara had to be outside of the detention center in order for that to happen. And just as it seems like Yuji's facing off against this special grade that is just obliterating his body with just shockwaves and, you know, kind of grinding down the very fingertips that he has, he then finds out that Fushiguro and Nobara are outside of the detention facility, and that's when Sukuna shows up. So now we get to see what happens. So we're going to be going through chapters 8 through 16. So let's go ahead and get started with Volume 2, Fearsome Womb. Chapter 8, Fearsome Womb, Part 3. And it cuts to Sukuna, who's now speaking in Yuji's body. Without a doubt, you're such an annoying brat. Let me make sure that my face can be seen in this. And then Sukuna starts patting on the shoulder to special grade. Hold on, I'm thinking. If I go after Fushiguro, the kid will change back. And if that's the case, then the most troublesome situation for him would be... It's back to the original plan. And it shows that Sukuna is thinking about pitting the special grade against Fushiguro while Sukuna watches on. And then Sukuna says, hey, as the special grade braces himself. And then Sukuna says, let's go kill the brats. Come on. And he motions over to the special grade. And at that same time, Sukuna regenerates Yuji's destroyed fingers. And as he starts walking away, the special grade starts sweating, and its heart starts pounding, and then it gears up an attack towards Sukuna. And then he looks back at the special grade, and Sukuna says, you fool! And the special grade throws it at Sukuna, but Sukuna puts his hand up, and it's the destroyed one, the completely destroyed, chopped off one that Yuji lost. Sukuna holds his hand up, and it fully regenerates. And Sukuna blocks the attack completely. Oops, I fixed that too. And the special grade can only look on in shock. Not a fan of walks, huh? Well, I guess curses are supposed to linger at their point of origin. Fine then. You can die here. And it shows that Sukuna has... It shows that Sukuna has already appeared directly where this curse is standing. It just blitzes him. And then proceeds to just body the curse. He just slaps it. He just slaps it into the ground. And the special curse is only staring as Sukuna says, come on, you can do better than that. And then Sukuna steps on the face of the special grade, and with so much pressure that it destroys the bridge that they're on. Then the special grade holds on to Sukuna, with Sukuna saying, "Huh?" As the special grade tries to drag down where Sukuna actually is. And as it tries to grab onto Sukuna, it pulls back a stub. Its arm was holding on to Sukuna, but then it pulls back a bloody stump because apparently Sukuna ripped off the special grade's arm the moment it tried to do anything. Even a cursed spirit needs an arm, right? And then both the special grade and Sukuna fall down to the ground with like a massive explosion, all while Sukuna is laughing. And then it cuts to, hold on, what is this guy's name? Ichiji. Ijichi. Then it cuts to Ijichi on the outside saying, "Please expand the evacuation zone to 10 kilometers. What about you, Fushiguro?" And then Fushiguro says, "I'm staying. If things go wrong, it's my responsibility to finish him. But I don't want to let him die. Yes, it's a personal opinion. Please do something about it." We go back to the moments where Fushiguro was speaking to Satoru Gojo. Then Fushiguro says, "Presently, after I take Kujisaki to the hospital, I'll be, this is Ijichi. I'm so tempted to just call him Ichiji, like Ichiji, Niji, and Yonji. But his name is Ijichi, says, after I take Kujisaki to the hospital, I'll be back as soon as I can." And then Fushiguro says, "No. You won't make much of a difference anyway. If you do come back, please bring a grade 1 or stronger Jujutsu sorcerer. There's probably no one available, though." And these words secretly kind of insult Ijichi, because Fushiguro does not see him as someone that can actually make a difference in this whole matter. And then we come back to Sukuna, who says, "Did you know you and I are categorized as special grade? Me and this insect?" And it shows that during the whole situation with Fushiguro talking to Ijichi, Sukuna has firmly implanted the special grade into a wall while also severing both arms and legs of it. And he just has it embedded in the wall as he's looking. Then it shows the special grade laughing, not laughing, but kind of breathing heavily as it comes out of the wall and starts to regenerate itself. And then the special grade jumps down and it starts smiling at Sukuna like it's about to do something. And then Sukuna says, "You look proud of yourself. Should I applaud? But using cursed energy to heal yourself isn't hard for cursed spirits, unlike humans. You and this brat don't have the slightest idea of what a curse can do. How about I teach you true jujutsu sorcery? Domain expansion. Malevolent shrine." And then just a shrine of bones. A shrine of bones and skulls just pop up directly behind Sukuna. And the special grade is just instantly sliced. Instantly sliced vertically all across its body. And it just immediately, it's like individual slices across its entire body. And it can't even respond quick enough to this. It's just eviscerated on the spot. But Sukuna holds on to the main part in front of him, with Sukuna saying, "I was going for 3 slices. Sheesh, you're weak. Oh, right. Can't forget about this." And apparently, Sukuna pulls out one of his own fingers from inside of this curse. "I'll take that back." And then it shows the special grade fading from existence and then just evaporating on the spot. And then, as all is said and done, Sukuna says, "I'm done. How annoying. If you're going to change, get on with it already. Then there's no answer, and Sukuna says, brat. Then there's just nothing but silence. And then we see this crazed look in the eye of Sukuna, as if to say, oh, Yuji's not here. Then it cuts to Fushiguro, and the domain completely disappears. With Fushiguro thinking, the domain is gone. The special grade is dead. Now we wait for Itadori to come back. And then Sukuna appears right behind Fushiguro saying, he ain't coming back. And then Fushiguro immediately gets tense. Don't worry, I'm in a good mood right now. Let's talk. It seems like he's having a hard time coming back. This must be a side effect of using me without restrictions. It's most likely only a matter of time, though. So I've been thinking about my next move. And it shows Sukuna tearing the front part of Yuji's clothes open, and he stabs into his chest. And completely pulls out Yuji's heart. Mind you, Sukuna is inhabiting Yuji's body right now, so he just plunges his heart deep into Yuji's chest and pulls out Yuji's still beating heart. And then he says, I'm taking him hostage. I can live without this thing, but he can't. And he just throws Yuji's heart on the ground. Switching now means his death. Also, just to make sure. And he swallows the other one of his fingers that he got from the special grade. With Fushiguro thinking, Sukuna's fingers. It was inside the special grade? Now then, I'm finally free. You can be scared now. There's no real reason for this, but time for you to die. Then Fushiguro says, this is just like last time, except now the roles are reversed. The only thing fair about life is how unfair it is to everyone. Itadori will... Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry. I'm skipping ahead. That's the end of chapter 8. Whew. Chapter 8. Then we have Kiyotaka Ijichi, 26 years old. I am older than this dude. I didn't know that I was so much older than him. I'm like 4 years older than this guy. Ijichi is a character who also appears in my earlier series, Jujutsu High. At that time, he looked like he could fight, but in reality, the assistant manager doesn't know how to fight and is technically forbidden from doing so. He handles simple barriers, supports jujutsu sorcerers with shikigami, and gives basic instruction to students who are new to field missions. He excels in office work, sending students on dangerous missions, frequently getting into conflicts, being abused by Gojo and other senior members. His heart can't take the stress much longer. So he's basically he has the position of a salaryman, but it's in the line of jujutsu instead. But that was the end of chapter 8. Onwards to chapter 9, Fearsome Wound, part 4. The only thing fair about life is how unfair it is to everyone. And then Fushiguro says, Itadori will return, even if it means his death. He's that kind of guy. And then Sukuna rubs the blood off of his lip, saying, you give him too much credit. This guy's just a little tougher and duller compared to other humans. Just a short while ago, he was practically beside himself, blubbering about his misfortunes. He doesn't have the guts to end his own life, I'm sure of it. And then it cuts to Fushiguro, who's preparing to use his own cursed energy, as he thinks, his arm is healed, which means he can use reverse curse technique. Sukuna is an incantation. If he can live without a heart, he has to be hurt. Even if he can live without a heart, he has to be hurt. Oh wait, why am I? Wow, I am saying that word so wrong. Sure isn't even in the sentence. I'll make him fix his heart before Itadori changes back. I have to force him into thinking he needs a body with a heart to win. Can I do it? But I couldn't even do anything against a special grade. It's not a matter of can. I will. And then Fushiguro summons like a bird shikigami behind him. And then Sukuna slicks his hair back, saying, all right, since we're outside, let's go all out. And then the flying shikigami flies past Sukuna as Fushiguro goes for the other side. And then Sukuna is thinking, Interesting. A Shikigami user who isn't afraid to mix it up. And then Fushiguro then clashes with Sukuna. You gotta feel the curse more, as it shows Sukuna just backhanding Fushiguro. And then in that moment, Fushiguro summons another Shikigami, Great Serpent, and a giant snake jumps out of the ground and grabs Sukuna, who then is in the path of the flying Shikigami, who nails him in the back of the head, with Fushiguro screaming, "Don't let up!" And then Sukuna starts smiling as he completely destroys the snake, completely destroys the snake Shikigami. And then he says, "Like I said, let's go all out." And before Fushiguro can even, because the thing is, Sukuna is airborne, up where the snake thrusted him up in the air to be hit by the bird Shikigami that Fushiguro created. While Fushiguro is still looking up where Sukuna was, Sukuna is already at the back of Fushiguro, grabbing the back of his shirt, and then proceeds to throw him far into the air. And as Fushiguro is dealing with the fact that he's getting thrown in the air, he thinks it's not just his jujutsu sorcery, but his immense physical strength too. His agility. And then it shows that Sukuna is already in the path of Fushiguro, as Sukuna proceeds to kind of double fist downward smash into Fushiguro, who is then protected by his bird Shikigami that he had out earlier. He's on a different level. What a great curse technique. And it shows that Fushiguro landed into a building, and this is his Nue Shikigami. Nue is at its limit. I better return it before it breaks. I've used all my Shikigami just trying to get out of this situation. Plus, Divine Dogs and Great Serpent have been destroyed. And then it shows Sukuna landing in front of Fushiguro as Fushiguro thinks, my cursed energy. And then he thinks back, and then Sukuna lands in front of him saying, your Shikigami uses shadows as an intermediary, right? Knowing that doesn't change anything. So what? I don't get it. Rather than using calming talismans, this curse technique is much more practical. Back then, why did you run away? And he thinks back to when Fushiguro and Yuji were facing off against the special grade inside of the detention center. And Fushiguro looks puzzled, with Sukuna saying, that was a wasted opportunity. Anyway, at this rate, I ain't gonna fix his heart. He read me like a book. I put my life on the line for nothing. This brat's not worth the effort. And why did I save him? The only thing that is unfair about life is how unfair it is to everyone. Then we cut to a woman apparently talking to Fushiguro in the past. Had your alarm set and still late? Don't worry about it, Stellis. I had to take like a quick power nap because I just got home. I just got home at like 8 something, and then I stayed up even longer because I was helping my mom with some yard work in the backyard. So even after dealing with, being at work since 10 o'clock last night, I was still up. And then I got here, and then I got upstairs, and I just slept in my chair. I just slept in my chair for like a good hour and got a power nap in. And then I took a shower just to have like 4 minutes to do this stream. So needless to say, I'm running off of a power nap right now. So as soon as I'm done with this whole read through of Volume 2, I'm probably going to lay back down and get myself some rest after I see what this new Marvel game is supposed to be announced today. Then I think it's supposed to be announced at 1, so I'll probably still be reading by then. But someone will let me know what this game is. But don't even feel bad, Stellis. You are perfectly alright. We're only on the 2nd chapter of this volume. But apparently this woman is speaking to Fushiguro in the past saying, if I've got the time to curse someone, I'd rather spend it thinking of those I hold dear. And then because of Fushiguro thinking, 3rd shift is rough, your last job was 3rd shift, you're a trooper. This month marks the 4th year that I've worked at my current job. I've worked retail for 10 years now. Yeah. I worked at Best Buy for 5 years, then Home Goods for 3 years. No, Home Goods for 2 years, and then this one for 4. So yeah, I've been in the retail business for about 10 years overall. I am looking forward to change because I don't know how much more of these third shifts I can really take, to be quite honest with you. I miss sleeping when the rest of my family sleeps. I do. But that's a conversation for another time. Back to it. Fushiguro says, "She was the kindest person. There was no reason to think otherwise. She was someone who deserved to be happy. But Sumiki was cursed. My father, who didn't even know my gender, gave me the name Megumi. He's still alive somewhere. Karma doesn't happen on its own. Criminals are disciplined under the law. Jujutsu sorcerers are only a cog in this retribution. If only more good people could receive fairness. I'll save people whether or not it's fair." And then it shows Fushiguro channeling cursed energy into himself, which Sukuna notices. "Good. That's it. You're finally ready to go all out. Show me what you've got, Megumi Fushiguro." And then Fushiguro says, "With this treasure, I summon 8 handles." And then all of a sudden, something comes to the recollection of Fushiguro, or something. Fushiguro notices something, and then he says, I didn't save you because it was the logical thing to do. I didn't want to see a good person, no matter how dangerous, die. I did have to think about it. In the end, it was a selfish, emotional decision. But that's okay. I'm not a hero. I'm a jujutsu sorcerer. That's why I've never regretted saving you, not even for a moment." And then it shows that apparently Yuji has gained control of his body again. "I see. You're so smart, Fushiguro. Thinking about all sorts of stuff, unlike me. I think your way of doing things is also right, but that doesn't mean mine isn't. Oh, sorry. Time's up. Fushiguro, as for you, Fujisaki, and Gojo-sensei, well, guess I don't have to worry about him. Live a long life, okay?" And then Yuji just falls to the ground in front of Fushiguro, because he basically died, because he has no heart, and he just falls motionless in front of Fushiguro. And that is the end of Chapter 9. Onwards to Chapter 10, After the Rain. And then we cut to Geto, and I remember Geto from issue 0, Geto walking with 2 other curses with him, and one of them says, "Was it necessary to use a precious finger just to get that information about Sukuna's power?" And this curse has like a volcano forehead. And Geto says, "We can't take half measures with this. We've got some valuable information." I hope that's not an excuse. As Geto and these curses walk through the streets. And then one of them speaks in a language that literally no one can discern. And then the other one says, "You, shut up! I can't understand what you're saying, but I can hear the meaning in my head. It's creepy." And then Geto walks into a restaurant of some sort, with the hostess saying, "Welcome, party of one." And then Geto says, "Yes, only one." And then we cut to another area where Ijichi and Gojo are inside this morgue area with, I'm guessing, the body of Yuji, with Ijichi saying, "It was intentional, wasn't it?" Oh, well, actually, Gojo says, "It was intentional, wasn't it?" And then Ijichi says, "What do you mean?" And then Gojo says, "The enemy was special grade. 5 rescue targets who weren't even confirmed alive. There's no way I'd send in first years for that. I had to pull some strings to get a stay of execution for Itadori. Those crusty higher-ups used a special grade to get rid of him in my absence. If the other two had died, that would have been the icing on the cake, right? And then Ijiji, who's trembling, says, but when the mission was planned, there was no indication of a special grade. And then Gojo says, what a pain finding the culprit. Maybe I should just kill all the higher-ups. And then Ijiji says, you're being emotional for once. No, and then a woman comes in saying, you're being emotional for once. You really have a soft spot for him, huh? And then Gojo says, sure, I'm a nice guy who looks out for his students. And it turns out this woman is Shoko Ieri. Ieri? Ieri? I-E-I-R-I. Ieri. Just pronouncing that is scrambling my brain. Jujutsu High Doctor Shoko Ieri. Don't pick on Ijichi too much. He's caught in the middle between us and the higher-ups. Say more. I don't care about his hardships. Say more! Says Ijiji in his head. And then Shoko says, I'm just going to call her Shoko. Shoko says, so, this is Sukuna's vessel, as she pulls off the cover of Ichiji's body. I can dissect him any way I want, right? And then Gojo says, you better make it worth it. I will. Who do you think I am? And then it cuts to Nobara and Fushiguro saying, he told us to live a long life. What use is he dead? Hey, is this the first time a friend of yours has died? The classmate, yeah. Really? But you seem fine. Look who's talking. Of course, I've only known him for 2 weeks. I'm not the kind of girl who cries over a guy like him. But it also shows Nobara kind of holding back tears as her lip is kind of quivering. And Fushiguro notices. Man, it's hot! Yeah, I wonder when we'll get our summer uniforms. Sheesh, you're more moody than usual, Megumi. And then someone steps up, and it's Maki. What is this, a funeral? Zane, senpai. Don't you dare call me by my last... Maki! And it cuts to Panda, who's in the background. It's good to see Panda again. He really did die. It happened yesterday. A first-year boy. Fish flakes. You are a little late! As it apparently Panda and the other guy, who I forget his name of, the guy that only speaks in food, they both showed up at the last minute with Maki saying, now I look like a cold-hearted demon! Well, you pretty much are, says Panda. And the other guy says, tuna mayo. And then Nobara says, who are these people? And Fushiguro says, our school's upperclassmen. That's Zenin senpai. Out of all the students here, nobody's a better curse steel user than her. Jujutsu High second year, Maki Zenin. Is taking it easy on them really kindness? And then, this is Inumaki senpai. He's a cursed speech user. The only words he say are rice ball fillings. Salted salmon roe. Jujutsu High second year, Toge Inumaki. That's his name. And Panda senpai. But when she's with Yuta, she's kind of nice. Yuta. It's good to have a callback to Yuta from Volume 0. Jujutsu High second year, Panda. Okotsu senpai isn't here, but he's the only one who Okotsu senpai isn't here, but he's the only one who I can sincerely respect. He's abroad right now. Had I not read 0, I'd be wondering, who's Okotsu senpai? But since we read Volume 0, we know that Yuta Okotsu is also the user of Rika, and how strong he was during the whole reading of Volume 0. So just to call back to him, it's like, I'm so glad I have this information. Just think of me not knowing who Yuta Okotsu was, had I not read Volume 0 earlier. Okotsu senpai isn't here, but he's the only one who I can sincerely respect. He's abroad right now. You gonna elaborate on Panda, or is he just, a panda? Sorry about this, especially during this sad time. Forgive us. I hear those words said too often on those rundown mobile games that says like, forgive us. We didn't mean to not give you any high-ranking summons. We spent too much time with the game, yada, yada, yada. I am so sick and tired of mobile game ads, you don't even know. But Panda says, but we want you guys to participate in Kyoto Sister School Goodwill event.
Kyoto Sister School Goodwill event?
And then Maki says,
it's a Goodwill event with the other Jujutsu High in Kyoto.
And Fushiguro says, but isn't it usually second and third years who participate?
Yeah. That idiot third year suspended right now. We don't have enough people, so you guys are in.
And then Nobara says, what do we do in the event, Smash Bros? I'm good at the Wii version. Meteor Smash all the way.
I'm good at the Wii version. Meteor Smash all the way.
And then Panda says, actually, maybe the three of us is fine. Tokyo High School, Kyoto High. Over the course of 2 days, each principal chooses an event for the day. But that's oversimplifying it. Every year follows the same pattern. The first day is the team event and the second day is the individual event. And then Inumaki just says,
salmon.
And then Nobara says,
individual and team events against other Jujutsu sorcerers?
And Maki says,
yep, a Jujutsu battle where no killing is the only rule.
Gotta read Volume 0? Yeah, you gotta read Volume 0. I still have to watch Jujutsu Kaisen 0. I still need to watch that movie. Even though I already know what happens, thanks to me reading Volume 0, but still I gotta watch it because, come on, it's more Jujutsu Kaisen anime goodness. And Panda says, we'll make sure to get you guys in tip-top shape so you don't die. And then Nobara says,
do we have the time? We're low on Jujutsu sorcerers right now.
We're low on Jujutsu sorcerers, right? And Panda says, good question. And then someone says,
right now, people's depression during the winter and spring seasons manifests as curses in huge quantities during the summer. It's the busy season, so to speak.
And it shows stress, changing of environment, autonomic imbalance, and winter blues as an example of what I'm guessing it was Maki who was saying this. And Maki comes in saying,
there are times when it's busy all year. It's probably going to calm down a little, though.
And then Nobara says,
so, you're in, right? Do it for your fallen friend.
And then both Fushiguro and Nobara says, we're in. And then Nobara and Fushiguro both think,
I will become stronger. I'll do anything it takes.
And then Nobara says,
but if I think both the training and events are pointless, I'm out.
Same, says Fushiguro.
It should be fun putting you guys in your place. Fish flakes.
And then we cut back to the restaurant that Geto is at with these other curses, with one of them saying, so, your boss wants to reverse the roles of curses and humans in this world. Oh no. And now Geto is saying, so, your boss wants to reverse the roles of curses and humans in this world. Is that right? And then, the volcano-headed curse says, not quite. Humans are made of lies. There's always a flip side to the positive emotions they show. But negative emotions such as hatred and killing intent, those are pure truths. Curses born from such truths are the purest form. We're the true humans. The fake ones should be burned away. Then Geto says, but the reality is, you're the ones who disappear. And then the volcano head guy says, Curse says, that's why we're asking for help defeating the Jujutsu sorcerers. Then Geto says, before the war, you'll need to meet 2 conditions to win. First, immobilize Satoru Gojo and remove him from the fight. And second, make an ally of Ryomen Sukuna and Yuji Itadori. Isn't Yuji Itadori dead? And then it cuts to Geto saying, don't be so sure about that. And then it cuts to an entirely new environment that looks like a endless
ribcage area, and then it cuts to Sukuna in this place, and it also cuts to Yuji in this place, with Sukuna saying, "Don't look up at me without permission. It's annoying, you brat." And then Yuji looks back at him and says, "Then get down here so I can look down on you." And that's the end of chapter 10. And then we get a little information about Shoki Shoko. We get information about Shoko. 28 years old. How am I older than these staff members? Shoko was in the same year in class as Gojo. She's one of a few people who can heal by using reverse curse technique. So she's incredibly valuable. After high school, she obtained her doctor's license in 2 years by cheating. She doesn't like sweets, but she loves alcohol. She quit smoking 5 years ago. Just these little tidbits are interesting about these characters. Chapter 11, A Dream. And then it cuts to Gojo saying, "You know, I have a lousy personality." And then Ijiji says, "I know. Ijiji, you're in for a serious face slap later. I'm just not the teacher type. So why would someone like me be at a place like Jujutsu High?" "Why? Serious face slap." "I have a dream," says Gojo. Then it cuts to another page that has chapter 11, A Dream, but it has Gojo on the front without his blindfold, but his hand is covering his eyes. Then we cut to the mindscape of where Sukuna and Yuji currently are. And Sukuna says, "You look like you want to kill me." "I wonder why. You did just kill me." "Aren't you forgetting to thank me for fixing your arm?" "But you ripped out my heart after that." "Do I have to spend the afterlife with you too? Is this hell?" Oh no, and then he says, "Do I have to spend the afterlife with you too? Is this hell? If that's the case, then I'll make you cry," says Yuji as he picks up a skull and throws it at Sukuna. And Sukuna sees it, and he dodges out of the way and lands on the upper parts of the bones, but Yuji is then running towards Sukuna with him saying, "Better grit your teeth!" And Sukuna says, "Unnecessary." Sorry, I had to burp there. "Unnecessary." And he punches in the direction of Yuji, but Yuji dodges. And then it shows that Yuji is in a different position where it looks like he's trying to go for Sukuna's footing. And Sukuna thinks, "Going for my footing, huh?" And then Yuji says, "Psych!" And then tries to use his positioning to kick directly in the face of Sukuna at his blind spot. Gotcha! And then it shows that Sukuna saw through this and just easily dodges it. Huh? How boring. And then just kicks Yuji off the bone they're standing on, with Yuji just falling into the pool of water that he's in. And he gets up going, "Ugh! I thought I had him." And then it shows Sukuna landing directly on top of Yuji and just sits on him. "This world isn't what you think it is. This is my innate domain." Fushiguro mentioned that, I think. Think of it as being inside the heart. In other words, we're not dead yet. If you accept my terms, I'll fix your heart and revive you. Look at you, talking all big, but you want to live too, huh? The game has changed. Soon we'll see something interesting. I have 2 conditions. 1, you agree to let me take over your body for 1 full minute when I chant in chain. And 2, you will forget about this agreement. And then Yuji says, "No way. I'm not sure what you're after, but that's too fishy. I know for sure now. You're evil. I won't ever let you use my body again." What if I promise I won't kill or hurt anyone during that minute? Will that do? Like I believe you! It doesn't matter if you believe me or not. This is a binding vow. I'm the one who will be punished if I break it. There are consequences for being greedy. You know that better than anyone else. It was fine before. I wanted to change back then too. You did as you were told by that Jujutsu sorcerer. And by that Jujutsu sorcerer, he's referring to Satoru Gojo. A binding vow is based on mutual interests. It's important in the world of jujutsu. Fine, I accept. Now get off of me. And then Sukuna gets up, and then Yuji gets up. I don't know what you're after, but it means I can be revived, right? And then Yuji immediately punches Sukuna in the face and sends him flying a short distance. Like I'd say that. Revive me without any conditions. You're the one who got me killed after all. Then how about this? A fight to the death. If you win, no conditions. If I win, I revive you with the binding vow. And then Yuji says, okay, I'm gonna kick your... And before he even finishes that sentence, Sukuna has already sliced off the upper half of Yuji's head. Literally sliced it across the nose with the eye still being intact. So, yeah, Sukuna already easily won this fight, and now the binding vow is now invoked. And then we cut back to the morgue with Ijiji saying, a dream? With Satoru saying, yup. As they made clear with Yuji, the higher-ups are the scum of the jujutsu world. Selfish idiots, bloodline idiots, proud idiots, just plain idiots. I'm gonna reset this crappy jujutsu world. It'd be easy to kill everyone who's in charge, but someone else would just take their place. Nothing would change. And it's not as if people approve of massacres anyway, so that's why I'm turning to education. I need strong and intelligent allies. I need to foster them. And it refers to pretty much all the students, the first and second years, and pretty much the first, second, and third years as well. To that end, I'll sometimes assign my missions to them. Tough love. You sure you aren't just lazy? They're all great, especially third year Hakari and second year Okotsu. They'll be as good as me someday. And it cuts to Okotsu again. It's good to see Yuta after all this time of reading Volume 0, even though that was 2 weeks ago. And then Gojo squeezes his hands. Yuji was no exception. And then Shoko says, hey, you guys, I'm about to get started. You're gonna sit there and watch? You're just gonna sit there and watch? And as Shoko is preparing... sorry. I have my hands... this is better. This is better. And as it shows Shoko preparing to put her gloves on, Yuji sits up, as Ichiji looks surprised, and Gojo just looks on. This might be better if I just sit this way. And then Yuji fully wakes up to the complete shock of Shoko, with him saying, whoa, full frontal! Because, Yuji's naked in the morgue. And then Ichiji says, Gojo! He's alive! Shut up, Ichiji. And then Shoko says, too bad. This is kind of embarrassing. Who are you? And then it cuts back to Gojo saying, Yuji! Welcome back. Yo, I'm back. And then both Gojo and Yuji high-five one another. Oh, right. I have to change the report. No, leave it as is. Oh, right. I have to change the report. No, leave it as is. Before he's targeted again, I'd like to at least give Yuji some basic training. Please leave him listed as deceased in the report. Says Shoko. Then Itadori will have to go into hiding for good. Nah, I'll have him ready in time for the Goodwill event. Why? Easy. I refuse to keep this kid from living the best years of his life, says Gojo. I wonder if everyone will be surprised, says, Yuji to himself, as Ichiji looks on in utter shock that a once dead person has come back to life. I refuse to keep this kid from living the best years of his life. Not just him, but everyone. And then it cuts to Gojo walking with Shoko. And then it cuts to Geto back at the restaurant because he's still talking to the curses. Satoru Gojo. So even then it cuts to the volcano guy saying, Satoru Gojo. So even if we work together, we won't be able to kill him. And then Geto says, you might be able to run away. Worst case, he'd exorcise you all. Instead of trying to kill him, focus on sealing him. Sealing? How? Use a special grade cursed item, like Prison Realm. And that's the end of chapter 11. Now we move on Now we move on to chapter 12, pushing forward. And then it cuts to a waiter who's saying, I will be flaking out on my job. I've always been the responsible type. Most of my pay goes towards saving up to help send my 4 younger sisters-in-law to college. Even a man like me can't deny this primal sense of fear. If I get close to that table, I'll die. So this man can already tell that just getting close to the table of Geto, who looks like he's sitting by himself, but to the rest of us, we know that he's sitting with a whole bunch of other curses as well. But this waiter, who can't even see curses, knows that getting close to Geto is a bad idea. If I get close to that table, I'll die. Prison realm. And then the volcano-headed curse his head starts bubbling as magma and smoke starts to come up. You have it, that taboo object. Calm down, Jogo. I forgot his name was Jogo. The cursed volcano head guy said his name is Jogo. Not Gojo, Jogo. Calm down, Jogo. It's getting hot. And then it has a person saying, Table 5 isn't ordering at all. He's hogging a table to himself. Someone go and hurry up. Sorry, boss. I quit. What? Hey, huh? What? Hey, wait a second. And then the guy who saw that going next to Geto was a bad idea immediately books it and runs out of there. Want me to go? It's fine. Is the AC working? And he starts fanning himself because it's starting to get hot inside the restaurant. Sir, are you ready to order And then the boss, immediately gets set aflame. And then people start screaming. I'd rather you not cause a commotion. And then Jogo says, how about this? And as he puts his fingers up, every single person who is inside the restaurant, he just puts 2 fingers up. He puts 2 fingers up, and every single person inside of the restaurant just immediately goes up in flames to the point where they're just singed. They are incinerated out on the spot, down to their skeletons. This is a horrific scene to look at, and it was a horrific scene to see in the anime as well. But he just holds 2 fingers, and every single person that's sitting inside of that restaurant just immediately gets incinerated down to their very bones. And he's just sitting there, and you look behind him, and you just see the smoke coming off of everyone he just nonchalantly killed right now. And then Geto, who's like fanning the air and coughing, saying, good thing I didn't choose an expensive restaurant. And then Jogo says, Geto, how strong am I in terms of Sukuna's fingers? And Geto says, being generous, I'd say about 8 or 9. Give me Prism Realm. I'll add it to the collection in exchange. And well, actually, Jogo says, that's plenty, to saying how strong Jogo is in comparison to Sukuna's fingers. Being generous, I'd say about 8 or 9. That's plenty. Give me Prison Realm. I'll add it to the collection. In exchange, I'll kill Satoru Gojo. I don't want to have his voice sound too much like Sukuna's voice off to the side. So I'm going for this type of voice for Jogo. In exchange, I'll kill Satoru Gojo. And then it cuts to someone saying, by the time we got to the scene, your son was already dead. And it cuts to Fushiguro talking to the mother of the teen that was there at the detention center. With Fushiguro saying, to be honest, I wasn't sure about saving people in that facility. But my friends thought otherwise. We weren't able to save him. Even after we confirmed his death, they tried to bring back his body. And it cuts back to when Fushiguro was told by Yuji to run away. And while he was running away, he comes across the body of this woman's son and grabs his name tag. And in the process, he grabbed his name tag while he was running away when Yuji was facing off against a special grade back at the detention facility. Unfortunately, the body disintegrated along with the special grade's innate domain. I managed to get this. And he hands a bag that has Tadashi's Okazaki's name tag on it and hands it to his mother. I'm sorry we couldn't save Tadashi's life. Please, don't. Then she says, please, don't apologize. I'm the only person who will grieve him. And then it cuts to the outside, someplace else, as it shows Panda and Nobara racing with Maki and Inumaki sitting there watching on. Good voices. Sounds like you're listening to an English dub. Well, thank you, Stellus. You know how much I love to do this. I like to immerse people into the story. It's better than just me reading with my regular voice. This is how I get you immersed in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. But, you know, I love doing this. I actually can't read these without putting a voice to them. It's become an addiction and a habit that I kind of don't want to break. But it cuts to everyone outside with Maki saying, "You're late, Megumi. Where were you?" "Doesn't matter. Zenin-senpai. As a Jujutsu sorcerer, what kind of people do you want to save?" "Huh? I don't think about it." "I wasted my time asking." "What?" "Fushiguro!" says Nobara in the background. What are you doing conducting an interview over there? Trade places with me. This school uniform is a pain. I'm gonna go buy a cute tracksuit, she says as Panda is swinging her around. "What are those two doing? You guys are weak in close combat." "First, try and win against me," says Maki, who has like a polearm with her, "and then we'll talk." And then it cuts to Gojo saying, "Yuji, you're better than most when it comes to close combat. But right now, you've got to learn how to control cursed energy. And you need to learn a bit of Jujutsu." And then it just shows Yuji, who's just staring blindly at Gojo smiling. "What's up? Are we good?" I'm probably going to have to dial it back to make sure that I didn't miss anything important, so give me a sec to double check. Yeah, you're back? Okay, so I'm going back. I'm looking back at it to make sure that I don't miss anything. Okay. All right. So I know where I am. So, Gojo, let me bring the video back up. All right, we're good. Gojo says, "Yuji, you're better than most when it comes to close combat, but right now you've got to learn how to control cursed energy, and you need to learn a little bit of Jujutsu." And then it shows Yuji just smiling at Gojo with Gojo saying, "What's up?" And Yuji says, "It's just that if I'm gonna learn, I'm glad it's from you, Gojo-sensei. I'm weak and couldn't help anyone. I even almost got Fushiguro killed. I can't see them yet, not the way I am now. I want to become strong. Please teach me how to become the strongest." And then Gojo just smiles and he says, "You've got a good eye. You're the one who dubbed yourself." And then, "You've got a good eye." And then Yuji says, "You're the one who dubbed yourself the strongest. Please pay attention to those cans over there. Thank you." And then it has two cans. And then Gojo puts up both of his hands. And then he hits one can that ricochets off the wall. And then another one just completely twists itself and crushes itself. Whoa! And then Gojo says, "This is cursed energy." And he says about the can that he hit and it rebounded off the wall. "And this is cursed technique." And he refers to the can that was completely crushed and twisted with his other hand. Right. I don't get it. Okay, let's see. Think of cursed energy as electricity, and cursed technique as electronics. It's difficult to use electricity by itself, right? So you use electricity to power electronics. This way you can gain a variety of uses. I just hit this with cursed energy, and he refers to the can that hit the wall. As for this, cursed energy flowed in a technique to activate it. Then I used Jujutsu to twist the can. And of course, he's referring to the twisted can. That means I gotta learn a bad A, bad A, you know what that word is. Curse technique. Nope, you're unable to use jujutsu, Yuji. Other than simple shikigami or barriers, the ability to use curse technique is intrinsic. So a jujutsu sorcerer's skill set is about 80% innate talent. No innate talent? You okay? And Yuji just falls back, disappointed in the background. I just thought I could use thunder or fire or maybe a power bomb. You can still do a power bomb. You're a wrestler. You're unable to use it now. In due time, your body will learn Sukuna's curse technique. Forget about that for now. Let's focus on improving your strengths. We'll apply curse technique to your physical attacks. Rather than some half-baked curse technique, I'm more wary of savage. And then Yuji says, rather than some half-baked curse technique, I'm more wary of savage attacks. Like I said before, you're awesome in physical fights. Hold on, I already know how to do that. That time I kind of got it. Then do it again. Punch right here. It's not like you can anyway. As Gojo tells Yuji to punch into Gojo's hand. Don't blame me if you get hurt. Yeah, hurry up. And then Yuji braces all of his strength and then punches into Gojo's hand. And Gojo doesn't even move. I didn't feel any cursed energy. Why? The basis of cursed energy is negative emotion. When you mentioned that other time, you were overwhelmed with anger and fear, right? Oh! When using cursed energy, I have always got to be mad. Fushiguro always seems a little ticked off too. Nope. And then it cuts to Fushiguro, who looks in the direction as if he's like this, as if to say, someone's talking about me right now, aren't they? And then Maki says, what's wrong? And then, what's wrong? And then Fushiguro says, something really annoyed me just now. You little. No, not you. There's a month and a half until the event. Don't get distracted. Here, try the polearm next. Pardon me. And Maki tosses Fushiguro a polearm. This actually feels right. And then it cuts back to Gojo and Yuji. Every jujutsu sorcerer is trained to control their emotions when channeling cursed energy. So when they're overwhelmed with emotion, they try not to waste cursed energy. There are many ways to train for this. I'm gonna have you do a particularly tough one. Like what? Watching movies. Watching movies? And that's the end of chapter 12, onwards to chapter 13. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. Chapter 13? Watching movies. That's literally the title. Watching movies? Yup. From the classics to niche horror films to tricky French films, every waking moment you're gonna watch movies. Of course, you won't be watching alone. You'll watch with this guy. And he holds up a cursed doll. Bless you, someone must be talking about me? Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if families wondering what I would want for lunch. Ooh, it's 1 p.m. Give me one quick second. Let me check something real quick to see if there's anything new. I'm pulling up the patch notes for the newest update for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands as well, because a new patch has dropped today. Armor up. Armor has an increased chance to drop, plus class mods have an increased chance to be for your current character. Oh, that ought to be useful for my farming for Wonderlands as well. Still waiting on some new information about this supposed Marvel game that's supposed to be dropping. But nothing's popped up about this Marvel game that was supposed to be getting showcased today. Back to the topic at hand. Sorry, it's just something I've been curious about. But Gojo holds up one of those cursed dolls that the principal made, and it has like boxing gloves, and it looks like it's sleeping. And then we get another page that shows chapter 13 watching movies. And then Yuji says, what's with this ugly, cute doll? Cute? Says Gojo. It's one of the principal's cursed corpses. I knew it! It's the same style! And I'm not getting anything from it. Don't worry, here it comes. Then the doll wakes up and immediately uppercuts Yuji directly in the face.
That cursed corpse will wake up if it doesn't receive a consistent flow of cursed energy, and it'll attack you too. Like I said before, there's a variety of movies here. Comedy, suspense, action. These movies will make you cry, laugh, and feel sad. Let's start by watching one movie without it waking up. In other words, don't get hit. This training will teach you how to control the flow of your cursed energy under any condition. You don't want to give it too much or too little. And then it shows Yuji, who's holding on to the doll, and then it starts to go back to sleep, and then it immediately wakes up. Then Gojo continues with this explanation, going, for now, it's set to match your cursed energy level, which is kinda low. But stay frosty, it'll slowly require a higher flow of cursed energy over time. And then Yuji says, there's no way I'm gonna let it up. So which one's first? This one's my recommendation. The heroine is super annoying but meets a gruesome death. Spoilers, dude! As the doll immediately wakes up and punches Yuji in the face while he's holding it. Let's start with an action. He said, let's start with an action. And then he hits the cursed doll directly. Then he throws the cursed doll directly in the face. Hold on. Let me catch you up to where I am. The live feed, that is. The doll punches him in the face and he says, ah, darn it! And then Gojo says, hey, even if you're frustrated, keep your cursed energy steady. Then it cuts back to all the other years in the yard with Inumaki, Fushiguro, Maki, and Panda, with Panda saying, carrying cursed tools, huh? And then it cuts to Fushiguro, who says, it's true that there are advantages to using them in close combat, but I like having my hands free considering my cursed technique. Even a sword sheath is cumbersome. And then it cuts to Fushiguro saying, it seems you like to carry at least 2 Zenin-senpai. Where do you keep them? Just asking. I make Panda hold one. And then Panda just flexes. And then Fushiguro thinks, again, I shouldn't have asked. And then it comes to Panda saying, there are jujutsu sorcerers who use cursed spirits to store items as well. They're really rare and you almost never see them used. You know, actually, this is Panda who's saying the first line and Maki who's saying the other one. There are jujutsu sorcerers who use cursed spirits to store items as well. And then Maki says, they're really rare and you almost never see them used, since it takes a lot to tame them. Let me know if you find one. Sure, for a year's worth of sausage. And then it cuts to Fushiguro thinking back to the words that were said to him back then. Why did you run? Did he mean that I had a chance of winning against a special grade? And this is back when Sukuna was facing off against Fushiguro. And then he puts his hand on the ground. He puts his hand on the ground and his hand starts to go inside of his shadow. I guess he's using his curse technique here. And then he looks, and then Inumaki says, tuna, tuna. And then Maki says, what? Huh? What? Senpai, I think we're good, says Fushiguro. And then it cuts to Yuji down looking at a movie. Down in this basement area looking at a movie while he's still doing his best to keep this doll flowing with cursed energy in order for it to not wake up. With the movie saying, the red wire or the blue wire, which do I cut? Where I used to live, the garbage bag colors. What are you talking about? Plastics were red and combustibles blue. I was thinking it was the other way around. Red! It should be red! And it shows Yuji's heart thumping more and more and more until apparently his flow of cursed energy just completely went off of its flow, and he gets punched in the face by this cursed doll while he was in the middle of drinking something. Not when I'm drinking! Then don't drink. Stop making it easy, says Gojo. Watching movies is all about snacks and soda! True. Around that time, we get some narration. Kujisaki had brought a tracksuit and was getting distracted around town. Yo, Gajio, what's going on? We're on chapter 13 of Jujutsu Kaisen right now, of volume 2. Around that time, Kujisaki had bought a tracksuit and was getting distracted around town. I don't see Urahara! Where is it? Is it underground? And then it cuts back to Gojo saying, well, I've gotta run. Keep it up. And then Yuji, who's starting to get like whelps over his face, says, am I really gonna get stronger?
And then Gojo says, yeah. Oh, by the way, did you talk with Sukuna while you were dead? Talk? Any conditions or contracts in exchange for fixing your heart? We talked about something. I don't really remember. And then Gojo just is silent for a moment, and then he says, I see. And then it cuts to nighttime as he's being driven by Ijichi. But also, hey, Gojo, real quick, has there been any new information about this Marvel game that was supposed to be announced today? It is now 1 p.m., which is the 10 o'clock mark that they were boasting about. Has any new information popped up about it? Like, any at all? Because I haven't seen anything. But it cuts to Gojo driving with Ijichi, with Ijichi saying, there's still some time until we have to meet the principal. Need a pit stop? Nah, let's be early for once. And then all of a sudden, Gojo says, stop the car. Here? You go ahead. What? Am I being tested? Like you'll beat me up if I really go ahead? What do you take me for? Oh, I love this part. I love this part because this really showed, this was a moment that showed that Gojo was just like one of my favorite characters of Jujutsu. But as Ijichi drives off, Gojo just stands there. And then Gojo says, well then. And then it shows Jogo jumping up above him, trying to smash down where Gojo is. And then it just shows Jogo smiling with Gojo saying, and you are? And then Jogo says, take this! And causes like a flame spout to come out of the wall directly next to Gojo. And Gojo sees this, and then the whole area he's standing in gets erupted by a massive stream of fire that goes out a considerable distance across the street, across the tops of the trees, because they're on like a cliff face highway. And it just goes out a considerable distance. And then as it shows that the area is completely hot and molten and melted from this flame spout that shot out from the wall, Jogo says, what was that it? Nothing special. And then it shows that Gojo is completely fine as he says, who are you calling nothing special? As he's holding his fingers up and he's completely shielded himself from this entire flame spout. As if nothing happened. And then Jogo says, stupid brat. And then Gojo is thinking, I can communicate with him normally even though he's a cursed spirit. On top of that, his cursed energy. It's an unregistered special grade. Special grades are just that, special. He's probably stronger than the current Sukuna. Can't have guys like that popping up everywhere. What's the matter? Losing heart? Nah, it's starting to get fun. And then it just shows Gojo cracking his knuckles. And that's the end of chapter 13. Onwards to chapter 14. But then we get a little bit of information about what reverse curse technique actually is, part 2. Now, first of all, if I were to go back, previously it said, what is curse technique, reverse curse technique? I plan on explaining this eventually in the manga, but I thought I'd give a sneak peek to those of you who bought this volume. It's not something to get excited over, though. As you know, cursed energy comes from negative emotions. Negative emotions are basically stressful, so it's not fit for healing living things. There are stories of people who got holes in their stomachs from too much stress. Then we take So now we take what we learned in junior high math, negative times negative equals positive. Then you get cursed energy times cursed energy equals positive energy. This cursed energy manipulation is reversed cursed technique. Continued in part 2, and part 2 is right before chapter 14. What is reverse curse technique part 2? Like I said before, healing humans is a difficult technique. However, cursed spirits are made up of cursed energy, so they don't need to use reverse curse technique. While some people are able to use reverse curse technique, there are others like Sukuna who can reconstruct limbs or heal mild damage for others or themselves. But I thought curse technique is decided when you're born. You liar, Akutami, die! Some of you might be thinking that, but please calm down. Reverse curse technique involves the processing of cursed energy. I'm sorry this is so confusing. The positive energy that comes from reverse curse technique for healing uses cursed energy. If you use this instead of negative cursed energy to power your inherent cursed technique, you can reverse the effects of your cursed technique. This is what Gojo is referring to when he said cursed technique reversal in chapter 14. So confusing. Now we start with chapter 14. And then Jogo says, "This is fun, huh? You have no sense of danger at all." And then something pops out of the top of Jogo's head. He lured me out to where there's no one around. So it's to make sure I can't call for support. And then it shows Gojo just cracking his knuckles. Ember insects. And then these bugs fly out of the top of Jogo's head, with Gojo holding up his hand, thinking, well, it was the right move to target me. No sense of danger, huh? And these bugs just come up to where Gojo are, but they immediately stop. They are immediately frozen around Gojo, with Gojo saying, "What happens if it stings me?" And then the bugs start laughing maniacally. And then he starts shuddering as Gojo thinks, "Sound?" And then the bugs themselves completely explode. But Gojo is completely unscathed and he jumps away from it, combining sonic and explosive attacks. Not bad. And then it shows Jogo coming up towards Gojo, who's preparing to hit Gojo with a flaming fist. And it looks like he hit Gojo directly in the face, with him saying, "There's more!" And he hits Gojo directly in the chest with a massive blast. "Is that it? So that guy was exaggerating. Humans these days are weak. They don't live in truth. Deplorable. Makes me sick. Real strength and the truth. Through death it will spread." As Jogo prepares to leave. And then a voice coming from the smoke from the impact zone that Jogo thought he killed Gojo in just says, "This again? When are you gonna learn? So smoky." And Gojo just nonchalantly starts waving away the air. And then Jogo starts saying, and looks back confused like, "How?" And Gojo says, the short version, it didn't hit me. "You're lying. That's not what I saw. I killed you." "What you touched was the infinity between us." "Huh? Here, I'll show you. Put out your hand." "There's no killing intent. It can't hurt to find out." And Jogo puts his hand towards Gojo, but he's not able to actually touch Gojo's hand. "See? I can't touch him. My hand stops just before. This is infinity?" "I'm not stopping you. It's more like you're slowing down the closer you get. So what do you think? Wanna hold hands?" And then it just shows Gojo actually touching Jogo's hand. And then Jogo gets irritated and says, "No thanks." And Gojo says, "Don't be shy. You're making me feel embarrassed." And then he starts to lock hands with Jogo. And Jogo says, "Why you?" But before he can say anything, Gojo proceeds to palm strike into Jogo so hard that he sends him flying. Well, he actually doesn't send him flying. He just hits him hard enough to make Jogo cough up blood. "So fast. It's not just a cursed energy-infused attack. What is it? I don't understand it, but I have to." "There's more." Yo, he's using the same words that Jogo said to him, and proceeds to repeatedly hit Jogo repeatedly. "Infinity is something that's naturally there. I just bring it into reality. Convergence and divergence. If you touch this empty space, what will happen? Curse technique reversal. red. And then there's a flash as Jogo is launched a considerable distance from where both he and Gojo were standing. And as Jogo is sent flying, he looks in the direction of Gojo and tries to blast him, but Gojo is already behind Jogo and kicks him to a nearby lake in the distance. And then Gojo says, "Oh, this is the perfect opportunity." And Jogo, I know there's a lot of going back and forth with me going Gojo and Jogo, but Jogo hits the water, the cursed spirit, and it shows that he's sizzling in the water, and it goes back to when Geto was talking to him, when he actually was warned by Geto, saying, "Sure, you can try, Jogo, but you'll die." He wasn't kidding. If I can't hit him, I'll just bring him into my domain. Oh, I've been you guys don't know how long I've been wanting to say those lines, because every time I look at the English dub clips of Gojo beating up Jogo and he brought Yuji into the fight, I just love that whole line, and I love the voice actor for Jogo when he says, "If I can't hit him, I'll just bring him into my domain." Just listening to the way he talks has helped me shape the voice for him for this specific chapter exactly. So for me to do these lines and say it like I've heard it in the anime, it's like, oh, it feels so good to be able to do this. He wasn't kidding. If I can't hit him, then I'll just bring him into my domain. Huh? Where'd he go? And then it cuts to Gojo coming right back, and he's floating above the water like the dude is broken. "Sorry about that. Thanks for waiting." "Huh? Where are we?" And he's brought Yuji with him. "He's Sukuna's vessel." Yuji's gonna be sitting on today's class. Mount Fuji! His head is Mount Fuji! And that is the end of chapter 14. Onwards to chapter 15. We are almost there. Explanation: Limitless Curse Technique. I'd rather not write about this. Here I'll explain Satoru Gojo's Limitless Curse Technique. I'll be explaining this one in the manga as well. The reason why I don't want to explain this is because I'm an extreme liberal arts thinker. In high school, I failed a basic math test. The worst part is that until I got my test back, I thought for sure I'd gotten at least 90%. What an idiot. Everyone, I'd like to start by asking you to read Achilles and the Tortoise and Infinite Number series, or maybe ask a math teacher. Gojo's curse technique is like the convergent infinite number that appears in Achilles and the Tortoise, brought into reality. However, the infinite number involved in Gojo's curse technique is fantasy. The repeating addition of numbers gives birth to a fictitious zero and an unknown derived from dividing zero. That's why it's called limitless. Thanks to this, not only can he slow down moving objects, he can create spaces that seem to suck in objects. Create. Continued in part 2. His head is Mount Fuji. His head is Mount Fuji! But that's the explanation. We'll find out more as we continue to read through the volume and pretty much all the rest of the volumes I got waiting for you guys the upcoming weeks. I have all physical volumes of JUJUTSU Kaisen, so we are set for every single Thursday to just read through this entire story. I'm excited. Chapter 15, Domain. And it cuts to Gojo coming down to where Yuji is, and he's just sitting up watching movies, and the doll has not moved at all. It's just been sleeping. Sam! Where are you, Sam? And apparently he's probably watching Lord of the Rings. He's actually a pretty quick learner. Yuji! And this surprises Yuji. Gojo-sensei? There's no problem even if I talk to him. What's up? We should up the cursed energy and move on to the next step. Let's get out of here, Yuji. Huh? Let's go on a field trip to a high-end jututsu battle. I'll teach you about domain expansion. Oh, one of my favorite moments of this entire series. Even though this is just near the beginning of the series. I'll teach you about domain expansion. Chapter 15, Domain. Yuji's gonna be sitting in on today's class. Wasn't I at the school just like 10 seconds ago? What's going on? We jumped. He doesn't plan on telling me. So, Sukuna's vessel is alive after all. First, immobilize Satoru Gojo and remove him from the fight. And secondly, make an ally of Ryomen Sukuna and Yuji Itadori. We needed Itadori alive. Did he bring him here knowing our plan? And then Jogo says, what's with the kid? Gonna use him as a shield? A shield? No. Like I said, just a little lesson. I'm in the process of teaching this kid a lot of things, so don't worry, you do your thing. Why aren't we sinking? And this is Yuji wondering why they're not sinking into the water. And then Jogo says, he's going to be a liability for you, you fool. We should be good, since you're so weak. And then this just sets off Jogo, he had corks in his ears that were there before, but they all immediately shoot out as fire shoots out of his head, and then fire shoots out the top of his head as he screams, don't underestimate me, you brat! I'll wreck you and your smug face! And then this sends shivers down Yuji's spine as he wonders, he's weak? It's a monster. It's a monster stronger than anything I've ever seen before. And he thinks back to all the curses he's come across, including the special grade that he had such a hard time with earlier. But he's wondering, Gojo calls this dude weak? But he's set at ease as Gojo pats him on the head. And then Gojo says, don't worry, just stay close. And then Gojo puts his fingers together and says, domain expansion. Coffin of the Iron Mountain. And then the entire area just turns into a burning, molten inferno as Gojo and Yuji just stand there. And then Yuji says, What? What is this? And then Gojo explains, this is domain expansion. An environment constructed with cursed energy and manifested through a cursed technique. The domain you guys experienced at the facility was an unfinished one that wasn't manifested using a cursed technique. You guys would have been dead if it was a proper domain. Megumi probably knew that. Constructing a domain using a ton of cursed energy. Constructing a domain uses a ton of cursed energy, but can be worth it. First off, you get an upgrade in stats due to the environment. Kinda like a buff in video games. Also, and it shows the rock flying towards Gojo, but Gojo just easily backhands it and he destroys it instantly. It's as if, here's the thing, Gojo just explained that the user of a domain expansion gets buffed. Yet Gojo just easily knocks away this buffed attack from Jogo so nonchalantly. It's like a Kainu sending a meteor towards Whitebeard and Whitebeard catching it and then just blowing on it and putting out the flames of it completely. That's what this moment was. He just nonchalantly destroys the rock that's launched at him with Yuji trying to shield himself, but Gojo's all like, please. And Jogo says, the average Jujutsu sorcerer would have been burned up just by entering my domain. And then it cuts to Satoru saying, cursed technique deployed in the domain will always hit. Always? Says Yuji. And then Gojo says, always. But no worries, there are counters. Hit it with Jujutsu like I did. I don't recommend this, but you can always also run away. Almost impossible. And your infinity. If we're here in my most potent domain, my Jujutsu will now reach you, correct? And then Gojo says, yep, it sure will. And then Yuji, hearing infinity, he doesn't realize that this is what Gojo can do. He's all like, infinity? And then it cuts back to when Jogo was saying, give me the prison realm. I'll add it to the collection. I came here half seriously. If I couldn't kill him, it wouldn't be a big deal. But he showed me the difference in our power. As a cursed spirit with the pride of a new human, I won't accept it. Then it cuts to Gojo, who starts to take off his blindfold and pull it down. The most effective counter to domain expansion is to expand your own. When multiple domains are expanded at the same time, the more polished one will reign supreme. It can also depend on compatibility and cursed energy. I won't leave even a single ash behind, Satoru Gojo! And then Gojo just pulls down his blindfold completely, and he says, domain expansion. And we finally see Gojo's eyes, his brilliant eyes, as he crosses his fingers and says, unlimited void. And then Jogo is immediately assaulted by the endless void of space, the endless void of infinity. And then Jogo just there standing there motionless as he says, what happened? Was my domain suppressed? I can't see anything. I can't feel anything. No, I can see everything. I can feel everything. The information has no end. And because of that, I can't do anything. And then it cuts to Jogo, who is standing there motionless, as Gojo's behind him putting his hand on his head as he says, you're inside the limitless. Perception, communication, the actions you take in life are forced upon you infinitely. Ironic, isn't it? Given everything, but unable to do anything. Dying slowly. I think I'll stop here, since there are some things I want to ask you. And then he just proceeds to rip the head of Jogo completely off of his shoulders. And then the domain completely disappears. The coffin of the Iron Mountain domain completely disappears. And then it cuts to Jogo's head hitting the ground, with Gojo saying, so, who sent you? As he stands on Jogo's head and he puts his blindfold back on. Then Yuji understands that he's the strongest jujutsu sorcerer. He's on a whole other level than us. And then it cuts to a far distance away because apparently Geto and one of the other cursed spirits there witness this as he thinks, yikes, what do you think? Should we save him? And that is the end of chapter 15, onwards to the last one. And then we come to part 2 of Limitless Curse Technique. I'd rather not write about this. Continue. Next is applications for Reverse Curse Technique. About Unlimited Void. In this scene, when Jogo says the information has no end, you might already have an idea of what that's supposed to mean. But if you were to use what he strictly sees as an example, it's more like, there's an example here, it's drawn here with an apple, gorilla, and a trumpet, and Jogo can perceive apple, gorilla, trumpet, but that's not how it's supposed to be perceived. What the endless unlimited void or infinite void is basically is you can see the apple, the gorilla, and the trumpet, but all you can perceive in your mind is just the letter A. So you can see everything, but your mind can't process anything at all. So you're basically left at its mercy. But that was the end. It's more like I can see everything. It's more like I can see everything should be I feel like I can see everything. But that was the end of chapter 15. Onwards to the last one for today. And then I'm going to get myself some food because I'm hungry. Chapter 16. Affection. Then it goes to Geto, who says, I can't afford to be seen by anyone from that school, so I'll be going now. If you want to help him, help him. I don't know if you cursed spirits feel affection for each other, though. Then this massive cursed spirit that's taller than Geto, that has like horns coming out of where its eyes could be, and it speaks in a language that no one can understand. It says something to Geto, and then it disappears from sight, and then Geto kind of smiles, but says, talking big. Know your place, cursed spirit. Then it cuts to Gojo, who's still standing on the head of Jogo, as he says, not the type to take orders, huh? Is there something nice waiting for you if you kill me? Anyway, who are we looking for? Hurry up, I'm gonna exercise you. I'll exercise you either way. And then it cuts to Then it cuts to Yuji saying, "So curses can talk? I almost forgot about that." And then something lands directly in front of Gojo, and it's like a spike. It's like a tree spike. And Gojo braces himself as it separates him from Jogo's head. And Yuji notices, and Jogo notices as the tree expands, and then an endless field of flowers just erupts everywhere. And then both Yuji and Gojo are all like, "Ah, flowers." And then Gojo slaps himself and thinks, "This is jujutsu, right? I don't sense any killing intent." And then it cuts to Yuji saying, "Yikes!" as the head of Jogo is swept up by the cursed spirit that was there with Geto earlier. "I'm fine, Sensei, go after them!" "Wait, kidding!" as it shows a big old tree pulling up Yuji and attempting to kill him and skewer him with spiked branches. But Gojo immediately destroys the tree. And then, as Gojo rights himself, he thinks, "It got away. It's good at erasing its presence, and it's a lot more creepy than Volcano Head. High-level cursed spirits working together. This is getting fun." And then it cuts to Yuji, who's bowing his head in front of Gojo, saying, "I'm very sorry it got away because of me, but it was you who brought me here, right?" "Yuji, it's not just you. I want all of you kids to get strong enough to beat something like that. Win? Against that? It's better to have a solid goal, right? I have no idea what's going on. Is this guy serious? Get a goal and work hard to get there. We're gonna speed up the schedule a bit. For the next month, you're gonna watch movies and fight me." "Fight you?" "After that, field work. I'll have you take on tough missions. You'll learn the basics of jujutsu and how to use it. We'll show off your results at the Goodwill event." "Question! Yes, Yuji! What's the Goodwill event?" "Didn't I tell you?" And then it cuts to the principal, who's sitting there in front of Ichichi. I'm so tempted to just call him Ichichi, like Ichichi, Niji, and Yonji from One Piece, but it's not because it's the spelling, it's backwards. Ichichi. But then the principal just says, "He's late." Then it cuts to a separate building where Geto is watching into an apartment complex, and he opens the door. And it opens up to an entire beach. This is quite the calm domain. And then someone says, "What's happening to Jogo, Geto?" "At death's door. But Hanami went after him, so he's probably okay." Then we cut to someone sitting in a chair, but their face is obscured with him saying, "How irresponsible. You encouraged him, right?" "Hardly. I tried to stop him." And then Hanami, the cursed spirit that was there that swept up Jogo's head, comes in with Geto saying, "Speak of the devil. Jogo, Hanami, And then this person says, "Speak of the devil. Jogo, Hanami, I'm glad you're okay."
"What the heck are you talking about?"
And then Geto says, "You got off easy." And then Jogo just stares at him. "I think you understand now about Satoru Gojo and the right time and place. We need to get every advantage if we're to seal him. We'll proceed on October 31st in Shibuya. I'll give you the details later. Is that okay, Mahito?" And then we see this person who's been sitting in this chair in this domain, whose name is Mahito, who says, "No objections. Let's be cunning. Worthy of a curse. Worthy of a human." Then we cut to another building where Nobara and Fushiguro are there, with her getting some out of a vending machine, with her saying, "I wish we had more vending machines." And then Fushiguro says, "Not gonna happen. We're strict with who we do business with." And then Panda comes up with Maki and Inumaki saying,
"What? Where's the first year crew?"
And then Maki says, "Running errands."
"Will they be okay?"
"They're not." And then Maki says, "They're not kids. They can run errands."
"That's not what I mean," says Panda. Isn't the Kyoto school coming today? The meeting for the Goodwill event."
And then Maki looks over and says, "There's talk that the higher-ups who have friction with Satoru were involved with the special grade incident in the dispatch of the first years."
"The Kyoto principal is one of those higher-ups. What if they start something?"
"They targeted Itadori and he's dead. I don't think Megumi and Kujisaki are in danger. The Kyoto geezer wouldn't try something so openly.
The teachers have their reputations, but not the students, says Panda.
And then Maki is silent, and then she says, "Is Mai coming?"
Probably not. The students aren't involved with the meeting, but those guys love to talk trash.
And then it shows that two individuals have come up to where Fushiguro and Nobara are.
Why are you here, Zenin-senpai?
I knew it! They have a similar vibe. Sisters?
Then we get introduced to Kyoto Jujutsu High's second year, Mai Zenin.
Oh, Fushiguro. Isn't that what you call Maki? Call me Mai.
Then we have Kyoto Jujutsu High third year, Aoi Todo.
So these are the replacements for Okotsu in the third year.
We were worried, so we tagged along. I heard your classmate died. Must have been tough. Or maybe it wasn't.
What are you getting at? Says Fushiguro.
It's okay. Some things are hard to put in words, so I'll do it for you. Vessel sounds harmless, but he was basically a half-cursed monster. Such a vile facade of a human, was calling himself a jujutsu sorcerer alongside you. It must have been terrible.
You must be relieved he's dead. And then both Nobara and Fushiguro just kind of look off. And then Todo says,
Mai, stop talking nonsense. I just want to know if they're worthy replacements for Okotsu.
They really hold Yuta Okotsu in high regard.
I just want to know if they're worthy replacements for Okotsu. Fushiguro, was it? What type of girls do you like?
And then both Nobara and Fushiguro are puzzled at this question. And then Todo starts tearing off his shirt by saying,
depending on your answer, I'll beat you half to death. And I'll drag out Okotsu or at least the third year. By the way, I like tall girls with big butts.
And that is the end of Chapter 16 and the final chapter of Volume 2. We do get the Part 3 of the last explanation for Limitless Curse Technique. I'll read through that, and then we'll call this entire session a close. Explanation. Limitless Curse Technique Part 3. I'd rather not write about this. Curse Technique can also be hereditary. The Limitless Curse Technique is an example. So is there anyone other than Gojo, the strongest character in the manga, who can use Limitless? The answer is yes. However, Limitless is extremely difficult to use and requires a sophisticated manipulation of cursed. Sorry, I looked at chat there, my bad. Requires a sophisticated manipulation of cursed energy. Even though there are other sorcerers with the possibility of using the Limitless Curse Technique, Satoru Gojo is the only one who can use it because he possesses a special eye. Gojo is also seen teleporting in both volumes, but that can only be done under certain conditions. Then it cuts to Gojo saying, I took the bullet train to Sendai, you know. And then it cuts to the authors in the background writing, that's all, no getting angry at me. And that's it. I'm not gonna read through this extra little comic here because it's very, very short, so I'm not gonna worry about reading that. If you guys want to read it, then just either read it from the Shonen Jump Viz website or wherever else you read these chapters from. But like I always say, support the official release. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for Volume 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Join me next Thursday as we go through Volume 3. I am glad I managed to get through this in a good amount of time. Now, mind you, this is a little bit longer than my One Punch Man volume read-through from yesterday, but I'm still glad that we're proceeding with more and more Jujutsu Kaisen. So as I bring this to a close, all I can say is that, ladies and gentlemen, I just enjoy this. I enjoy doing the voices, I enjoyed reading through this story, and I enjoy hanging out with you guys on these days as I am your audiobook for Jujutsu Kaisen and any other story that I read on this channel. So at the end of the day, all I can really say is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing or even consider becoming a member. Like Stella's here, who's been a member for 2 months. I just wanted to take note of that because I can't believe it's been 2 months since you've been a member, dude. The last time you became a member was back when I was still playing through Elden Ring. But consider subscribing or even consider becoming a member because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, yes, I am holding this up like a Jujutsu sorcerer would. Later, peoples. Time to get some food and then get some rest. I wouldn't be surprised if I just crash and burn right after I eat. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that itis just sneaks up on me.